now think, I'd be curious. I think a lot of people are sitting around and thinking, shit, everything's happening in industry right now. Like, I'm going to just be like rehashing some old papers. Like, how do I unlock something big?
I don't think that's ever true. If you look at the history of science, everything's invented. No, we don't understand biology. Biology is arguably way more complicated than physics, at least from our current understanding. Again, arguably, that you could do that basic understanding. But I would say, why don't you try to save lives? Why don't you try to make lives better? Do something at scale. So not that the opposite of basic research, but you have to decide. One of the most important questions I ever asked, I got to the end of the interview, the on-site interview, the director of the lab asked me, when is a project finished? And for me, it's done when you create something that you can ship that could have a chance to impact all of humanity in a positive way. You got to do a company that enables you to do something that's at scale. And then you get to use better labs, the fabs of Asia. But it depends where you want to play. Inventing something, writing an amazing book. There's a lot of different ways people can add. And I think it's different for each of them. And you have to decide what you want to do, probably by trying different things on for size. I've worked in .gov, .edu, .com, big.com, little.com, like lots of different, all of the various ways, but you have to figure out each one of them have pluses and minuses for where you can play. But I think where you got to go to is what you actually said often. It's hard, and somehow you have to keep going and getting up every day, which means you got a large portion of your job most days. There are some months where maybe only 20% of your job, but you got to get to that part. Otherwise, you're not going to be doing great work.
I started thinking about this a little bit like the Wayne Gretzky quote, to skating where the puck is going to be and not where it is. Moore's law tells us a little bit about where computation is headed and the efficiency of computation spatially and power-wise. And if we think about what that means for miniaturized electronics and implantables, that means more edge compute. It will be possible in the future. It means that data rates are probably going to be much higher. So there are, maybe that you're working on protocols, maybe you're working on physical devices, maybe you're working on connectors that enable that, or the enclosures that make sure that you don't have problems with implantation. And it's not just going to not going to affect just one implant like Paradromics. It's going to be changing for the entire field, and not even just neuro, but it can go well beyond neuro. So you can start to think about fundamental advances in basic tech that span across multiple fields and disciplines.
You all probably did too. I didn't do what people told me to do. The National Academies picks like the top 10 things you can work on for the grand challenges. I always go do something different because I like the space of, I guess, being the way they have a word for it now, contrarian. But I would also encourage people to not make up their own problems to solve. I did a degree in art and in tech, and for a while I was working in the art, and there was this thing people told me: you engineers, you have a problem. You solve problems people tell you to solve. We artists, we create our own problems to solve.